Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this video. I want to talk more in depth about a couple of recent videos that came out called The Poison Pill of Islam. In this video I'm going to just focus on part 1, and then in another video I'll focus on part 2. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these sorts of videos coming out after the recent streak of ISIS attacks in the Philippines and the UK. And essentially it just foments negativity towards Islam, trying to create a bad image about Islam, trying to paint it as a very dangerous doctrine. And in actual fact, it's a very beautiful doctrine, it's very transformative, and it's a very positive doctrine. So let's get into the video.
As a kid, I was really scared about going to hell. Like, the concept of hell was really frightening.
So this is Armin, the Iranian ex-Muslim who's actually talking in this video, giving his opinion about Islam. And he basically is saying that Islam is a bad religion, it's a bad doctrine, it's toxic because of its dangerous ideas about hell and its belief systems and so on.
One thing I remember doing is that I took a match and I lighted on, and I blew the match out, and I put it on my arm just to see how it feels. It was really hot, and I remember thinking, this is too painful. And then I imagine this all over your body forever. And I couldn't even imagine how could anybody tolerate it?
Well, that's the point. Hell is meant to be a scary place, a terrifying place for those people who didn't live their lives correctly, didn't live their lives in a good way, who wasted their lives, and who ignored and disobeyed their Creator, their Lord. So God warns us about hell so that we can avoid it, so that we can live our lives to do things and to prepare for it by, racking up good deeds and by rectifying and asking for forgiveness for our bad deeds.
I remember crying one time thinking about me going to hell, or my parents going to hell, and I remember my aunt coming to me and asking me why I was crying. And then when I told her, and she mentioned that, no, don't worry, hell, most people are never going to go to hell. Hell is for the worst of the worst people. And that calmed me down for a bit until I went to school. This was before school, but the teachers in school in later years, they told us that actually most people are going to end up in hell. Even most Muslims are going to end up in hell. If you missed one prayer, if you missed one day of fasting, if you doubted God ever, you have to pay for it.
So as I understand it, yes, a lot of people will be going to hell, but the vast majority of them, the vast majority of the inhabitants of hell will actually be from Gog and Magog, not from the other kind, not from the normal portion of mankind. But in any case, what I really want to talk about in this video is talk about the afterlife and the actual what's going to happen, so that we have a clear understanding of what Islam holds, what the tradition holds, what's going to happen to us, and what we've been warned about. So when we die, our soul gets disconnected from the body, and therefore we lose control of the body. But our consciousness remains intact. So we're able to experience pain, we're able to experience pleasure through our soul. And then we get questioned in the grave by Munkar and Nakir, who are two terrifying angels who, they have fangs, they look blue, and they're wearing these robes, and they start questioning you about who your God is, what your religion is, and who your prophet is. Now the believer will answer it as follows: my God is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my religion is Islam, and my prophet is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the unbeliever will will answer as I don't know, right? And after that, the believer, he will have his grave space will become spacious, will become beautifully decorated. He will have a door to heaven opened up, so he can look at heaven, and then he can wait in contentment and peace for the day of judgment. And for the unbeliever, the grave will become constricted and claustrophobic, and he'll get punished and get beaten, and all sorts of other tortures, and until the day of judgment, right? And I want to emphasize the point of, you're not a believer according to what label you worn in life. You're a believer according to what you hold to be true inside, and what you acted out and how you've acted in your life. So it's important that your actions in life are an honest reflection of what you hold to be true inside your heart. Then you're a believer. You're not just a label, oh, I'm a Muslim, and that means that you'll just pass all the tests. No, you have to actually support those beliefs with actions. Then, when the day of judgment arrives, the trumpet gets blown, once to kill everyone, and then the second time to raise everyone from the dead. And everyone will be raised up, and there will be in a massive crowd. So this is when I say everyone, this is everyone. This is the men, this is the jinn, these are the animals, the birds, everyone. And they will be on a white plain, featureless white plain, all naked, they're sweating, there's the sun overhead, and it's burning. They have no food, no water, and they're waiting. They're waiting for the Inquisition. So this is where God himself comes, and we get to see him personally, and he questions us directly, personally. He questions us about what we've done in our lives. He questions us about how we spent our lives, how we spent our wealth, how we used our bodies. And then he shows us the scales. So the scales are a visual manifestation of the weighing of our good deeds versus our bad deeds. If the good deeds outweigh the bad deeds, then you passed and you're assigned to heaven. And if the bad deeds outweigh the good deeds, then you failed and you're assigned to hell. Then after that, right, the injustices that you've done in your life have to get rectified. So if you've done an injustice on someone, let's say you abused them, you've hurt them, and you didn't apologize and you didn't ask for forgiveness for that injustice, then on the day of judgment they can get compensation from you for it, and they'll get compensated by God by transferring your good deeds to them. And if all your good deeds run out, then their bad deeds get transferred to you. And so there is a possibility that you will come to the day of judgment with all these good deeds, but then they get exhausted from all the injustices that you've done and you didn't ask for forgiveness and you didn't make amends for in your life. You'll have to compensate for all those injustices that you committed. Then after this, we all have to then traverse a bridge. And the bridge is sharper than a sword, finer than a hair. And the bridge spans hell and is over hell, and the other side is paradise. And so as soon as we start walking, the people who are destined for hell, they will just fall off, and the people who aren't destined for hell and who are destined to be saved will go to paradise. And then after this, right, is the intercession. So the Prophet Muhammad, he's been given a special privilege and right to intercede for humanity and to intercede for the followers in his community. And so the Muslims who find themselves in hell, they will they have a chance to be interceded for by the Prophet. The Prophet will ask for forgiveness for them, and God will accept his intercession, and they'll be taken out of hell. So that's like an overview of what's going to happen on the day of judgment. It's a very terrifying ordeal, even for the prophets, even for the righteous. It's very terrifying. And so it's important for the people who are aware of it and to make preparations for it and not to be complacent. And it's also important for the non-believers to understand that there is mercy for them, and that and that in the end there's always a way back for them. If they look for it, there's a way back for them.
I tried to argue with them. I was like, is there any way they're not gonna listen to me. What can I do? Like, well, when they die, you could pray the prayers that they missed, and fast on non-Ramadan days for the fasting that they missed. But while you're catching up, they're gonna burn in hell until you catch up to all their prayers.
I just want to, I'd already made this point before, but you don't go to hell directly, or you don't go to heaven directly when you die. You actually have to wait until the day of judgment. So when his teacher said you'll have to make up the prayers for them so that they get out of hell, that's just not how it works. That's just not how it works at all, right? And so it's clear to me that Armin, when he grew up, he was given a very distorted view of Islam, and his fear of hell warped all his sense of life and so on, at least as a child. And so yes, really, there should be better Islamic education in Iran so that they don't have these twisted, warped ideas in their heads. Now, just to finish off, what we should take from all this is that we need to prepare for the afterlife. We need to do as many good works as we can. And when we do bad things, we need to make amends and ask for forgiveness, because when we do so, it gets wiped off the record. And if we made amends for it, then we don't have to compensate anyone, because we've rectified all our injustices that we've committed in our lives. And so this means that we have to be very hyper aware of our actions and what we've done, how we carry out ourselves in our day-to-day situations, and that we have to be mindful of God, and also to treat each other well. That's all for this video. In the next video, I'm going to talk about part 2, right? Because it's very, very bad and it's very misleading. So I'll tackle that in the next video. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed this video and you found it informative, and subscribe to keep up with the new videos coming out. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for watching this video.